Hello, good morning, viewers. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Mr. Chude Michael, we are looking at successes recorded by Biafra agitators. Remember that recently we saw an opening of embassy of Biafra in Washington DC. As the celebration of that is going on, we are seeing yet another victory, another area of excitement. This time around, another opening of embassy in Germany. It's like it's galore of embassy opening this time around.
Yes, but it's quite different anyway. What we had at the center of the world power, Washington, there, the ruling nation in the world was actually located at Washington proper. And kudos to the president of America, Donald Trump, for that support to Ngozi Urabeze and all the people working with the Biafran government in exile. It shows the recognition of what is going to the detriment of other people too. But we need such embassy because it is time for us to start high level of diplomatic engagement with the international community. But still on that, that's the essence of that Washington embassy, Biafran embassy, located right there, in Washington. But to the surprise of many, we are seeing the first ever European IPOB headquarters located in Germany.
So it's like a regional headquarters.
Yes. Like I said, the entire Europe,
European bloc.
Yes. They call it European headquarters of IPOB. More are still coming. It tells you that these people are resilient. The Biafra people that have set their hand on the restoration of Biafra, a nation that have existed, and that was what Tila today was talking about. There was a country, that was the consciousness that is driving most of those things. And we must continually, celebrate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even though he is still in detention, in DSS custody for now. But the news that is breaking, I do not know the motive behind it, but whoever that's part of that arrangement, whether from the federal government, whether from the Fulani people, whether from the Judicial Commission, whether from the NBA, whether from the presidency, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be tried in DSS custody. But we want to send a serious signal to over 85 million Biafrans all over the world. Biafra is unstoppable. We are moving ahead. I was surprised the German Chancellor, I sent a delegate to the IPOB command headquarters in Europe. It's not an easy feat, a befitting place. And you can see Biafrans all over the world, not only Igbos, the entire South and Southeast, abroad. But those will also have delegates from Biafran land here in Nigeria. We have delegates from Biafran government. We have delegates from other parts of the world. We have delegates from India. We have delegates from Africa too. To the greatest surprise, Eritrea, the president of Eritrea sent his own delegate. Namibia too, that have recognized the first African country that has signed a Biafran charter signaling the recognition of Biafran government, also sent delegates to Germany here. So it's not a joke, and it calls for celebration all over the world. Even though we are not taking our eyes out from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we are not taking our eyes out, from Simon Ekpa in Finland. Nobody is taking their eyes out. Everybody is committed to it. But to the greatest surprise, we are seeing this development. Yesterday, if I can tell you, a breaking news, it was massive all over Europe. It was a festive galore, for us to have the first IPOB, European command, headquarters located in Germany. Kudos to the German government, for their support. I must give it to them.
If I may jump in here, because at the time the Washington embassy was open, there were installations in some quarters that some people, of course, enemies of Biafra, were working behind the scene to see how they could shut that embassy down. But now we are seeing another opening. It means they will have a lot to contend in their hands.
Of course, what they are saying now that with the level they have gone with the international community to get the European EU attention, get the EU attention. I guess of course, the Western world and of course some Asian countries will need to have a specific place, where we continue our engagement, with the international communities, where we begin to sign bilateral the issue of defense, Biafran territory, headquarters, airspace, everything will be discussed, business, treaties will be signed there. This is some top powerful figures around the world, has been looking for a place, they can actually meet outside, Nigeria, or individual premises where they can actually sit down, and begin to carry out advanced diplomatic engagement. There's nothing like diplomacy when it comes to international politics. That is where the game is. And I can tell you, a lot of IPOB members, all over the world, we have professionals there, we have doctors, we have scientists, all of Biafran extraction, are ready to put their expertise to play, to make sure that at the end of the day we are beginning to see nations coming out to say we recognize Biafra as a nation, and we begin to build some defense, concerning the fact what is happening around now, that the Nigerian government can no longer be trusted to protect Biafrans at this moment. And we must understand that even the Igbo politicians themselves, the likes of Ojuzo Carlo, the likes of Benjamin, Carlo, who is the deputy speaker currently now, all these people are trying in whatever way, to bring political conquest to Biafra land. But there's massive resistance, from people all over the world, and you can see what that has brought, to the extent that there's so much panic in Aso Rock, panic in the northern part of the country, as Biafrans continue to take on the world.
Okay, now me jump in here, because some people are looking at the Fulani conquest as a threat to Biafra actualization. But let me take you to Imo State in this regard. Recently, some Fulani men were spotted in Imo State, hooded and fully armed. And of course, the police in that area have spoken up that they are aware of the situation, and that they have deployed personnel to go and make sure there's law and order. But the question I'm asking is, why not the police disarm these herders who now find it convenient to be in the Biafra land within AK-47?
Of course, they are finding it difficult. Like I always said, they say their problem is the Biafran people, and we know that if they cross the red line, we treat them the way Israel is currently treating Israeli enemies currently now. There's not too much about it, and the world is going to back it up. The world is rising against any interest that has to do with terrorism linked to Fulani, linked to Islam, linked to whatever it is, whatever this guy, the world is rising against it. And you can see now, what is happening because of the IPOB resistance, because of the ESN resistance, and because of the Igbo resistance. You can see there is going now in Imo State that the people, the Imo youth, are rising up, against every area, every location, every camp of the Fulani, even to an extent the governor of Imo State, had to realize himself that it is no longer Joe. The people have risen, and it's continued to lose the grip of seeking for a way to continue to bring these people in politically and otherwise, socially and otherwise, economically and otherwise. It is a no-go area. It is a very tough signal for the Fulanis in the north now, because they see that the game is up for them, and they can tell you that it is no longer funny for them to continue to stay in Biafran land, because the Biafran people have discovered that the political class are the one compromising the security of that place by accepting political conquest from the north. But now, you see, the game has changed. They have seen what is happening in the Middle East now, and the Israeli president Benjamin Netanyahu have already sent delegates, to make sure that at the end of the day, because we know that once the issue of Middle East is settled, then it can turn around, and the world will now focus on how to get along with Biafra in Africa, especially the issue of jihadists. In the Middle Belt currently now, in Kogi aspect of it, there are Igbo-speaking people, communities in those areas now. They are trying to breed and liaise with the Biafran movement, and make sure that the excesses of this Fulani are being checkmated. And they are already running away, back to where they come from, to their master. We know their master. Their master is a former president of Nigeria here, and they know that's where they are running to. And very soon, they'll be caught to question the rationale behind what transpired in the issue of Kano in Kenya. Yes, even after the court of law, have granted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu bail, he refused to release Nnamdi Kanu. So a lot of things, the international communities are watching. But I can tell you, that there's nowhere in the world IPOB president is being tagged as a terrorist apart from Nigeria.
Now you just mentioned red line. Is there a red line that Fulani cannot cross or must not cross in Biafra land?
Of course, they know that. They've already said it, in as much as the Sultan of Sokoto controls the southwest through religion, they cannot do the same thing in the Biafran land. And that's the way.
So it's part of the red line.
Yes, that's the red line. And the consciousness is that, Biafra is going to take the conquest to them in just no time. And you will see the difference is going to be clear. The Hausa youths are trying to liberate themselves, and they're looking at it. They know very well that it is only Biafra that can defeat this Fulani politically, militarily, and otherwise. And there's no doubt about that.
Because of the area I just go, let me quickly ask this question, because I can clearly see an Hausa woman who is currently lamenting about the conquest of the Hausas by the Fulani. We understand that these are people who came from Senegambia in southern 15th and 14th century, and in 19th century they successfully established an empire which is equally seen as the Sokoto Caliphate. But as we speak, the Hausas are saying we are tired of this marginalization, this subjugation, this total control. But do you think they can get themselves off the hook?
Just like what the development yesterday, and from the report we are getting, that the entire 19 states of the north, governors, there is no Hausa man as governor, and this, from what is happening now, we learned there was an emergency meeting to discuss the development of Biafra, IPOB, Biafra government in exile all over the world, and it's a serious signal to them. So that emergency meeting was to see how they are going to cope with the rising influence of Biafra all over the world. So it's already a big threat to them. And the Hausas themselves are capitalizing, on this development to see how they can challenge the status quo. You can see most of them are talking about Nnamdi Kanu now and making references to Nnamdi Kanu. I look as if that Nnamdi Kanu was the one who, instigate. Let me not use the word instigate. Who, gave them that consciousness, who brought that consciousness, to the extent that they are beginning to regain consciousness on who they are and what they represent, especially in their land that was originally called Hausa land. There was nothing like Fulani Hausa, what we have was Hausa land, but you can see what it is today. So the build up, to send Fulani politically, militarily, otherwise out of Nigeria is already, again, the Biafrans are having the template already in their hand.
I must say, thank you for our time. This is actually Michael. This is a good place to let it go.